Man, what a lovely day for some gardening. What is this? Boy, am I hungry. I'm gonna go get some food.
To enter the kitchen, I need to find out if Resident Evil is worth it or not. Let's do it.
Hey guys, Lytane here, and today we're going to be looking at Resident Evil on the PlayStation 1. This was a game made by Capcom all the way back in 1996, and it helped start a whole new genre of video games, survival horror. The story follows an elite task called STARS. The day before the game starts, the Bravo team is sent in to investigate some strange happenings that are going on in the area, from weird happenings and attacks. Sadly, the team goes missing and they can't be reached by the radios. Alpha Team gets sent in to find out what happened to Bravo Team, and this is the one that you actually play as. They land in the forest and are attacked by some savage zombie dogs. The team runs away and finds a nearby mansion where they decide to stay. From here, Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield are your two main heroes that must explore this mansion and discover its many secrets. Very soon, they learn that this mansion is not what it seems to be, and it is infested with strange monsters and zombies. So they all decide to split up, of course, because they're idiots, with Barry Burton and Albert Wesker splitting from the group. Now the story differs after this due to the fact that there are two main characters and both have a unique story. Chris meets up with Rebecca Chambers, a survivor of Bravo Team, and they work together to solve the mysteries of the mansion. As Jill, she and Barry work together to find out what is going on. Officially, as the loose canon is concerned, both of these stories are right up until near the end, when Chris's story is the one that they ran with. Near the end of the game, Jill is kidnapped and the dark and sinister plot is revealed. All along, they were being videotaped and studied, and they were lured into the mansion by the evil Umbrella Corporation. They are the true bad guys. They wanted to test their new bioweapons in the forms of zombies and zombie dogs and plants and hunters to see if they could handle some of the best soldiers in the business. This was a field test for their latest virus, the T-Virus, and Albert Wesker was in on it the whole time. He then sets loose the Tyrant, which was the ultimate monster, to see its fighting abilities and potential, only for it to stab him in the back and kill him. That's what you get for wearing sunglasses inside whilst it's night, you douche. I'm sure we'll never see him again. This also sets off the self-destruct of the facility because Umbrella were losing control of the situation. Chris manages to rescue Jill and get Barry and Rebecca to the roof of the mansion and call Brad Vickers, the helicopter pilot from the beginning of the game. This is where the final confrontation with the Tyrant commences. After a tough fight, they manage to kill the Tyrant with a rocket launcher and escape just as the facility blows up. Like I said earlier, this is a survival horror game, which means that there are tons of enemies and tons of puzzles, but very, very limited supplies. There is a high difficulty to this game because of the limited resources that you are given and the fact that the enemies respawn in this game. Though, to be fair, a lot of them can be avoided by just running past them. The enemies are quite varied in this game. There are the standard zombies and undead dogs, bats and spiders, but there are also bioweapons like Plant 42, Yawn the giant snake, and hunters. Oh dear God, hunters are the scariest thing in this game. They are fast and deadly where they can kill you in a single move. They do, however, have a tell. Whenever you enter a room with one of them in it, you can hear the slip of their claws on the floor. Due to the static camera angles, they become even more deadly and scary because you don't know exactly where in the room they are. They could be just off camera for you to accidentally walk into it and then get killed. The other big part of survival horror games, besides the limited supplies, are the puzzles. Everything is a puzzle in this game, from hidden keys to cranks that need to be found in random places or taken from one area of the game to another. There are more complex puzzles where you must find certain items and put them in certain orders, or push statues into certain places, or have a certain code to open up a certain door. There are puzzles galore. One bad thing about this type of game though is all of the exploring and the backtracking that you have to do. Finding a certain object and trying to remember where it must go can get very, very frustrating very quickly. And it's increasingly frustrating as the enemies respawn and your ammo doesn't. There are also lots of notes lying around that flesh out the story, which is fantastic, but some of them contain secret codes and numbers and letters that you have to remember, so best bring a pen. Even though there are two main characters, they control the same. And boy is it painful to control them. They use this control scheme that we like to call tank controls. Basically, left and right turns your character left and right, forward moves them forward, and back moves them back. When aiming your weapon, you cannot walk, but you can turn painfully slow, which doesn't help because a lot of the enemies in this game are quite fast and start hurting you before you even have a chance to slowly point the gun at them. This makes a lot of the game and a lot of the interactions with the enemies a lot harder than it needs to be. You also have a limited inventory space, and this is used to hold everything from guns and ammo to key objects that are used to solve puzzles. The healing items, however, can be combined to make them more potent and take up less room in your inventory, but it is still a challenge to maintain it all. The two characters differ in that Chris has less inventory spaces, being 6, and Jill has 8. The other difference is Jill is the master of unlocking, so she has a lockpick that can get her access to some rooms without the key. This can get her items before Chris and open up shortcuts as well. Overall, Jill's story is a little easier with the increased inventory and lockpicking, and Barry, her companion, shows up more often to help her out than Rebecca does. The absolute hardest thing, besides figuring out all the puzzles of course, is the limited saving. In order to save the game, you have to find a typewriter and an inkwell. These are rare in the game, and thus you have a finite number of times that you can save. This leads to longer playtime in order to get just as much done as you can before you have to save the game again. This also means that you can be playing for a few hours only to die and have to do it all again. Then it gets confusing because you have to remember what you did in that time and do it again, else you'll be stuck with the whole, I got that key, didn't I? Or I explored this room, didn't I? The story for this game is great and intriguing with many plot twists and turns along the way, and it is very deep as well if you read all of the notes and documents that are in this game. But the graphics aren't very good at all. This is a very early PS1 game, which is why it looks like this, and I honestly don't mind it at all. It's the voice acting for this game. It is atrocious! It is absolutely hilarious! The dialogue is bad, and there are so many bad lines that they have become infamous amongst gamers. Here are a few of my favorite lines.
It's me, Chris.
Is that you, Rebecca? Jill, have you found anything interesting?
Yes, but I can't see very well.
Jill, see if you can find any other clues. I'll be examining this. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
What is it?
Maybe it's Chris.
There is also an FMV at the start of the game which has the worst acting imaginable. As this is meant to be a horror game, I'm sure they intended for this to be scary, but that does not come across at all. It is pretty embarrassing to say the least. This game got a remake that was released on the GameCube. This game enhanced the graphics, changed some of the puzzles and item placements, and updated the voice acting to be pretty decent. They also added a new enemy to the game called Crimson Heads, which are very deadly and add a great new element to the gameplay. So the original Resident Evil game, is it worthy of your playing it? I will say no, it is not worth it. This is a dinosaur amongst the survival horror games, and it has not aged very well. From the very, very bad dialogue and the very, very bad scenes of the game to the confusing puzzles and the respawning enemies. Maybe play it if you just want to know how this genre got started, but honestly, if you want to experience Resident Evil, play the remake, because it is better in every single way, shape and form. I will say, however, that you should watch a compilation of all of the cutscenes on YouTube because it is hilarious and will bring a smile to anyone's face. Ew, that was almost a Jill sandwich. And guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and write anything in the comments if you personally believe that this game was worthy or not, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.